Emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Citizens are advised to take the following steps. If exposed, remove probe. Emergency broadcast system.
Podcast for the curious mind. I don't know what that means.
Broadcasting live from a Chinese-made microphone deep within Sioux Nation. I am your host, Jamal, here with special guest, Flat Earth Day. Welcome back on the show. Thanks so much for coming back here.
Yeah,
Dave.
no problem. No
The
problem.
people are excited. That was all the 8 people watching there. Clapping. It's crazy.
That's all right. More people watch it a little later.
Yes. We got Chris and Clemens with us today. And Clemens, so we've had you on before, Dave, and we appreciate you coming back on Phantom Facts Society.
You
I don't know
say
if
that
you know.
in a way like did we have some fisticuffs? I don't recall.
No, well, you thought you came into the show thinking you were getting into a fisticuffs argument, but you thought you were on a different podcast for half the show. And then when we told you were actually on Phantom Facts, then you had no clue who we were, and so you had to reset everything. So it's sort of funny.
All right, well that's good. That's good. It's
Well, yeah,
okay.
no,
It's all right. It's all right. You guys are all on leaning flat. I take it, right?
I tell you, I watch your arguments, and a lot of the optical illusion one with where you did the string across your room with like the beer bottles and everything, and then
That's
you had
not
your
an
flashlight.
optical illusion. That's
Well,
not
no,
an optical illusion.
No, I mean like how your mind transmits it as it's going down when it actually is just going straight across. So your mind's creating the optical illusion of the sun going down beneath the horizon when actually it's staying on a straight string all the way down.
Perspective. This is an optical illusion. See these boxes? Now they look like they're moving around, right? They look like they're moving forward and back, right? They look like they're spinning right now. But if I hold my finger up here, you can see that they're not moving at all.
Yes.
That's an optical illusion.
Okay.
All right.
Well, show Clemens, if you don't mind, could you show Mike the one, which one, the video I'm talking about where you did the string across your living room?
You mean the Flat Earth Kitchen?
Yes.
Yes. How the sun sets. Sure,
yes, how the sun sets. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one that really stuck with me. I looked at sunrises and sunsets a whole different way after that. I'm like, is that?
Yeah. All right.
Really
So people, the biggest argument is what about the sun setting over the ocean, on a clear day? What are we seeing there? And I'll show you how it's all perspective. So here's my counter. Here's a straight line, and I'm moving the sun across the line, and we're viewing it from a celestial height of the sun point of view. So we see the sun going straight. We're viewing it from a celestial point of view. The countertop is terrestrial. This is either a mountains, it could be cloud deck, it could just be the atmospheric density level, but we're above it. We never go below it. And I got a camera on the terrestrial on the other end on the counter. So we're looking up. And if we look at this line, it looks like it's going down. And then here's that thing, and it looks like it's going below it. Now, this is basically at eye level. If it was a little farther away, everything goes to eye level in the distance. So look at this line. If I showed you this first, would you say that's level? And you'd say, no, it's almost going straight down. And this is just the path the sun takes and how we see it. And if we compare that to a real sunset, this is the sun was up here and it's just getting lower. What's it going behind here? This is what I call the atmospheric deck of opacity. It's where the lower part of the atmosphere becomes so opaque and it's 5,000 or 10,000 feet above your head. The sun just goes beyond it and disappears. And that whole thing looks like it's a horizon, right? On my channel, DITRH, one of the last 2 or 3 or 4 videos ago, I have a drone video of the sun going away and showing you how it's going behind mountains and clouds, not a horizon at eye level. It's going behind mountains and clouds that are thousands of feet above your eye level. So once you really sit down and understand that, it works. Think about this. You're standing outside next to a building, 10-story building. You're right in front of it, and you look up. The top of the building's way over your head. And if an airplane turned into a ball and was flying over that building. As it went over the top of the building, it would disappear, right? It would disappear. You can't see it because you can't see through the building. Now move yourself 10 miles away, 20 miles away. The top of that building is now at your eye level. That's what it looks like. And as the plane goes away, it just goes beyond it. And it looks like it's going below the horizon, but it's going behind a 10-story high building.
I stared at sunrises for a solid month after watching that video, because it's like, you know, it's such a, I guess it's perspective, right? You know, such an interesting, like when you view it from just that little demonstration right there. And you have other videos too where you talk about, because the curvature of the Earth, the supposed science behind it is how many miles for each feet of drop. I can't remember off the top.
The formula is, it's based off of the Pythagorean theorem, which is a proven theorem, and the Globers will go, it's a parabola. Yeah, it's a parabola after like 3,000 miles, but it's accurate up to like, you know, at 2,000 miles, it's like off by a foot or two, you know, but in favor of the globe. It's literally giving back to the globe. So it's a perfectly good formula because you can't see 1,000 miles. You know, you're lucky with, you know, at certain altitudes, you can see a little farther than 500 miles, but that's it. And
well, it's amazing how many people say like, oh, I've taken flights and I've seen the curvature of the Earth.
They think, you know, they see the curve because they can see the same distance in all directions. So let's say you're on a flight and the atmosphere is clear 180 degrees out your window. It's the same atmosphere, you know, it's not like cloudy over there and clear over there. So the distance you can see, your perspective comes together, is X, whether it's 100 miles, 50 miles, whatever you want to call it. And that creates a circle, a flat circle of vision. It's like putting your head in the middle of a hula hoop at eye level. That hula hoop is the limit of your vision, and that's a circle around you at eye level. That's not a sphere, a circle. That's what it is. So the other thing is, here's another one. This is a super clear day. The sun was going down, 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 and then it stopped. Now, if we were spinning, it would just keep on going. But this is super sped up. My friends are down at the beach over here at sunset 5 minutes ago. This is another 5 minutes after the sun. They saw the sunset. And the sun, what's it doing? It's not going down anymore. That means we're not spinning, falling over backwards. The sun is just going away and taking its light with it. And its light can no longer push through the soup of the atmosphere. This is a super clear day. And it just disappeared. Now, I got accused of Photoshop. You know, that's fake. Right? Filmed it again, live streamed it again, filmed it in 4K, right? I filmed it 7 different times, right? How come I've never seen a sunset like that? Well, do you have a 4K camera flying on a below freezing day, super clear at altitude, and then you're putting it into your movie editor and zooming in on it? Have you done that? Well, no. Well, that's why you haven't seen it. Okay?
Well, Oxbow Spirit, well, he makes a comment here. Spinning ball Earth claims that one cannot observe the Earth's curvature at 61 miles high. And that's a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. 61
right. Well, I believe he said it was from the Red Bull jump, and the Red Bull jump was, I think it was 7. Well, no. It was, how high was the Red Bull jump? 127,000 feet. However many miles. That's like 20 some odd miles. Yeah.
And he couldn't see the curvature of the Earth.
Well, you know, people claim that they saw the curvature on the Red Bull jump. But when you look at it, you know, this is what Google Earth says. The horizon should have dropped that much. Okay. This is at ground level. The horizon's right there at the camera level, and the camera level's here, but the horizon should drop at 127,000 feet. Here's Felix getting in with his rear seat camera. And here's him jumping out at 127,000 feet. You might even say the horizon's even higher. It's the same though. Okay. But of course, you know, when they show you the Red Bull jump, they show you this crazy curvature. Where is it? Second. They show you this. And Felix said, I saw the curve, you know. Now he's either stupid, and he was wearing he's got a helmet on with curved glass. And he was expecting to see the curve, and he saw the curve. Yeah, because you're looking through a curved glass. Or he was told to say that. Not sure. You know, or he was just prompted, you know, encouraged to say it, whatever. I'm not calling the guy a liar, but He didn't see the curve because we did an analysis of all of this area down here, and this is all New Mexico. Can you tell me if New Mexico covers a quarter or a third of the Earth? Look at this.
That's all New Mexico.
That's
so you're
all
saying
New
it's
Mexico.
just the lens that was used.
100%. 100%. Right? 100%.
Well, in this case, size would matter, though, right? Because if that's, if that is the size of New Mexico right there, then that would give us a scale, actually, like what we're looking at. So
no, that's the lens is curving it. It's that you can't. I mean, if this was a scale, the whole Earth would be like 25 miles around, or I don't know, 200 miles around, whatever it is. I don't know how long New Mexico is, but New Mexico doesn't have curve like this. That's insane, right? That's insane. This is Felix getting out, right? Here's the horizon right here. And then
it's a regular camera.
Yeah. And here's the same mounted camera, him getting in and out. The horizon hasn't moved from ground level. Now on a ball, the higher you get, the horizon should drop. You should be, because you're seeing farther and farther, and it should drop. But the horizon does not move. It does not move. As you go up, you're going to be able to see farther. The horizon should drop. That alone tells you that we're on a ball 1,000 times bigger than they tell us, or it's flat. It's just basically simple.
Well, I mean, that's what William Shatner said too, right? When he came off, like he could see the curvature. That was the first thing he said.
Yeah,
like,
well, he was definitely paid to say that, and he wasn't even in that thing. That is absolutely ridiculous. If you actually analyze that at all, where is it? So here's Shatner coming down. So this is like a whole bunch of edited pieces. This is CGI right here. This isn't even real. But then it slams into the ground. Watch this slam. Imagine being in this thing. You're coming down. And by the way, it never lands on a bush. It always lands in a perfect little spot. Okay. Here, let's see this again. Hold on. Here it is. Where's the impact? That's the one I want. Yeah. So it's going to slam down, right? So he's in this thing and it never lands on a bush, right? Could you imagine what happens there? Now, listen, at when Evel Knievel jumped the canyon, were there a dozen ambulances there? Of course. When I run a school fair with rides, is there required to be a couple ambulances there? Yes. When somebody, at marathons, ambulances, this guy was slingshotted into space, this fat old man, right? Comes back down, slams into the desert. Not a single ambulance, not a single medical worker, just a couple reporters, a couple of wives patting each other on the back and talking about the Earth's curvature. Okay.
But if it wasn't for mathematics, though, we wouldn't be sitting around observing it. Like we would be freaking out, like asking each other, why are these people doing that? Versus like
what
we can kind of. What I'm saying is you can use math and geometry to depict where something is going to fall or about where it's going to fall. So while there's emergency workers there in case something happens, we sit around and we observe stuff like this happening because the people behind it have the education to know what's going to happen, because there's planning and things that there's a lot that goes into it. I'm no professional on any of this. Like, I love hearing different perspectives. I'm just saying from what you're saying and where it drops and why it drops in specific places, that's because of math and geometry and people. And
like you're saying, figuring out the spinning of the Earth and how it's going to come into orbit and where it's going to eventually land.
So, up in, there's air currents, and the higher up you go, there's at 40,000, 50,000 feet, there's like 200-mile-an-hour winds in different directions. And go up higher, it switches directions, it goes another way. They launched this rocket into space, all right? There's a million things wrong with this launch. This is just not real, okay? I'm just going to fast forward here. And we're going up. And this thing, look at the curve of the Earth. It's so beautiful, right? They always show you this exact same shot every freaking time, every time. Okay. Well, wait, why isn't the Earth spinning? Okay. But maybe we're just not, maybe it's spinning just slow, right? So here's the second stage goes off. So now they got the two cams. Okay. You got the cam from the second stage and the first stage. Now this thing is free falling from space down through all those wind currents to a spinning Earth. and it's all being steered by these little milk crate flaps. Okay, it's just that it's gonna land upright on a raft 800 miles offshore where no human is. It's a drone draft. Nobody can be there, and the cameras are very sensitive to the rocket coming in, and the vibrations usually make the camera turn off just when the rocket's landing. But let's see what happens this time. Now, look, they got two camera views here. Oh, the beautiful curve, right? And then it's flat. They do this every single time. Flat Earth, right? But you can't see it because it's a corner. And everyone's, oh, that's a corner. Oh, curved Earth. So how's the Earth curve changing? Why is the Earth curve changing? Do we have, is it, what is going on here? Okay, remember, this thing is like 20 tons free falling back to Earth. Okay, it's free falling. Look how, imagine being in an airplane this high above the clouds. Okay, you'd crap yourself. All right, and so this thing's falling. I'm just gonna fast forward a bit, fast forwarding, and it's coming down. Now it's still super high above the clouds. This is higher than airplanes fly. Okay, and in no time at all, I'm gonna fast forward just to save time. It turns on its engine. Okay, camera cuts out, of course, while it's falling, and then here we go. Now it's still above the clouds. I'm gonna let it go at regular time. This little flame, this little flame is gonna hold this long oblong, top-heavy piece up. Oh look! It happened to just zero in on the raft, and it's gonna land on this tiny little raft, 20 tons, and it's not gonna send out a shockwave of waves. Oh, camera cut it. Oh, wait a minute. It landed. Okay. Yay, it landed. Okay. This is what we get. And people just eat it up. Okay.
It was like that video that they showed where they shot the rocket into the asteroid to like steer it. See if they, and it, I mean, like if you watch that video, it's like there's no way that's real.
Say it. There's no way that. Very good. Very good. There's no way that's real.
They can shoot a missile like from in one place. They can hit a button and shoot a missile, and it go thousands of miles away and hit the approximate spot that they want to hit.
So hold on. I don't believe that's true. I believe that missiles can go hundreds of miles, but not thousands. I think that's a myth. And these missiles, small missiles do fly, and they have laser pointers pointing at the target, and it can zero in on the laser and steer itself in. That's flying in an atmosphere with propulsion, with guidance systems. This thing is free falling out of the sky, landing in the ocean on a little raft 800 miles from where anybody is, and it's always calm out there. There's never ocean swells. I don't know how they launch rockets all the time. They land them upright all the time, and there's never ocean swells. I live on Long Island Sound. There's swells out here. You go out into the ocean, there's always swells. It's rare if it's ever at rest, okay? But it's always at rest for them for landing their big rocket, and there's never, like, why don't they have another ship out there filming it or a submarine filming it? You know, something. Never. They just have the drone ship, and the camera is crappy, and there's so much smoke, and then the thing, you couldn't even balance that thing on it in a bay. It would tip over. Okay? People have no idea.
Let's discuss Antarctica, Dave, because there's been some, and like I know you don't like to speculate too much, but I'd like to get a little bit of your speculation.
I love speculating.
Okay, good.
Wait, before we speculate, people go, Dave, you're not proving the Earth is flat. You don't need to speculate about Antarctica or what's higher than we can get to. I agree. I agree. So let's just shut down the globe really quick. All right.
Okay.
So on a ball, there's curvature, right? You can't see my mouth because it's behind physical curvature. We zoom in, you still can't see it because it's behind physical curvature. But when we zoom in on things, we can bring them back into focus sometimes, into view. And so that just proves its angular resolution. It's, topographical things that are blocking it, and atmospheric effects. Okay. But physical curvature is physical curvature. That means on the best of conditions, you can only see X distance, and it'll never get farther because there's physical curvature. But if there's other factors, bad weather, humidity or whatever, it'll only get closer. It'll never get farther, right? Like if I lived on a ball and the horizon was 3 miles away and it was foggy, I couldn't only see 2 miles. And then that's where I see the horizon at 2 miles. If it was super clear, I can only see 3 miles no matter how clear it was because there's a physical curve there. Okay. Here now, it's hard to, the higher up you are, the farther you can see, the clearer the air is. So here's a shot, world record from this mountain, and we could see all of these mountains over here. Now, if you saw one and they said, oh, well, that's a cloud and it just happens to be in the same place, in the same shape as the top of that mountain, you can have that argument, but how many times can you have that argument? But the truth is, on this one, we saw, I think it's 7 mountains, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mountain peaks, all in the right position, all there. And people say, well, you can't see the bottom. Well, that has to do with perspective and the fact that there's a forest in between and there's stuff in the foreground hiding the bottoms. But forget that. The top of the mountain should be over 40 miles below the curve. 40 miles below the curve. Okay.
So are you saying
we can
that
see it.
countries are smaller than what we're told as well?
No,
or are we assuming
I'm
that they're
saying
the same
at
size?
700 miles. No, I'm saying the Earth is flat and we can just see on a clear day with the right optics, we can see things, right? With your naked eye, you can't see that. But when you zoom in, there it is, right? Our consumer optics have outgrown their lies. 700 miles, right? And using, there's, oh, well, you're using the wrong calculator. We can use the most egregious globe favored calculator. And then some people say, well, it's not curvature. It's the Sagitta, the line. Like if you're here and the thing's over here, you don't have that much tilt. You only have half of it, right? And that's actually a stupid argument, but I'll give it to them. So there's only 20 miles of curvature. The 20 miles below the curve. Either way, we can see it. Earth is flat. You know what mainstream science is saying about this?
What do they say?
Nothing. They won't address it. They're pretending it doesn't exist because if they do, everything that they're doing gets shut down because it proves the Earth is flat. All right, Antarctica. Wait, Earth is flat. Now we can speculate all we want.
What were you going to say, Mike?
Well, I was just asking as a general question, just a general like flat Earth question. Are countries, are they the same size as what we're taught, or are they smaller or bigger?
I think that some areas of the world are bigger than they tell us, and like Australia is way bigger than they tell us. So yeah, there is issues, and when we look at the Gleason's map, I think that's the most accurate map we have. Is it exactly right? I don't know, but my app, if you go on my Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app and look where the sun is, like, hey, the sun's going right over Sydney, Australia. Let me call my friend PK. Hey, PK, where's the sun and what time it is? He goes, well, it's right above me and it's noon. Hey, that's pretty accurate. Then I wait later, it's over South Africa, and I'll call my friend in South Africa and I'm like, where's the sun? He's like, it's right over me and it's noon, right? So something about the clock hand going all the way around, shows that it is accurate. This is a depiction of the Gleason's map. So wherever the sun is, it's noon. It's winter in Sydney, Australia, because the sun is away from it. Okay. In the summer, the sun would be over here, right directly above it. Right. And I could wait until it's over here, call somebody that lives there. Sun's right over them. And so you can spot check it all the way around. Hey, there's something accurate about this. Something accurate. Right.
Side note, love Australia. I've been there myself, like seeing the Southern Cross constellation, which is fantastic because it's not something that we can enjoy here, but it was great there. The people there, absolutely fantastic. And, I concur.
I agree. I was there also. Right. And then globals will go, flat earthers don't even think Australia exists. Right. Well, that's a stupid meme. All right. And no, that's not true at all. That's not true. It's a stupid meme. The best thing globers have is straw man arguments. Flat earthers don't think Australia exists. Flat earther tried to jump out in a rocket over a canyon to prove the Earth is flat. Not true. When then every news story across the world said flat earther killed himself trying to jump in a rocket. Not true. Not true at all. He wasn't trying to do that at all. So,
we had, and if you ever get a chance, we had Richard Gage from Architects and Engineers from 911.org on our show. Yeah. And he had gone on another podcast, and the guy had sort of grilled him because he wanted to establish that this, reputable engineer wasn't a conspiracy theorist, was his idea, I guess, of proving credibility. And he goes, do you believe that, he mentioned a bunch of other conspiracies, and then he goes, do you believe the earth is flat? And then Richard Gage goes, I honestly don't know what to believe anymore, because if they were willing to do this to us at 9/11, they'd be willing to do anything to keep people under their control. So I can't confirm or deny things like that at all. And I just thought that was interesting. Like when you get a perspective of, a lot of people are like, well, that would mean the whole world would have to be in on a flat earth.
That's not true. It's amazing. It's amazing because of the indoctrination. People that are ignorant will fight to defend the globe and shut down flat earthers, and they don't even know what they're defending. They have no idea why they believe it's a globe, other than, well, Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie and the lab coat, told me ships go over the horizon, And if the earth was a ball, yes, ships will go over the horizon, but you can't live on a ball, okay? You get into that whole thing, it's insanity, right? No one has ever measured axial rotation, ever, in all of history. No one has ever measured curvature, ever, in all of history, and no one has ever been able to do an experiment in a lab or in nature where you have high pressure next to low pressure, high pressure, our world, our air, adjacent to a void without a physical barrier. And the only thing they could say is, well, gravity. If the gravity was holding the air down from the vacuum of space, which we can't even create that strong of a vacuum here, a void, that low of a pressure, that means I can't drink through a straw and suck air up and away from, or liquid up and away from Earth, because gravity would hold it down. And my lungs do not match the void of space. Okay.
But there would have to be several governments in on.
They're all in on it. Russia, China, America, UK. It's all one big club, and you're not in it.
So
you're not in it.
So, like, let's say that the flat Earth is a thing, right? Like, and that they've been lying to us the whole time. What's to say that the story that they then teach us is the truth?
There's nothing at that point. I think you begin to see that in societal breakdown of the, news media and all these other pillars of, of justice.
Here's the thing. Before I forget, this Friday and Saturday, the 23rd and 24th, I think it is, we're having a summit, and it's not just about flat Earth. It's about medical freedom and health and the amazing presenters, trueearther.com. And the ticket's $100, but you get 50% off if you use someone's code. My code is DITRH, just DITRH 50. If you just go to flatearthdave.com, there's a banner there. I highly recommend do it, watch it. If you can't watch the whole thing, you can always go back to it. You have access to it forever. It's going to be amazing. David Avocado Wolf, Dave Murphy. I don't know if you know some of these people, but they're amazing presenters. I'm going to be on a panel. There's going to be just absolutely amazing stuff. And if you're a flat earther, you need to go. And if you're not a flat earther, you absolutely need to go. And one of my favorite guys, and I tell everyone, go check out I'm the Improbable Dreamer, all one words. The guy's name is Jake. And he is on Instagram, and he looks into our history about Antarctica and everything else. And giants, he has amazing footage, and he's going to do an hour presentation. It's worth it just to see that. So check that out.
He's a really good follow. He's a really good follow on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. So you follow him. Isn't he amazing?
Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So
what was the website again?
The easiest way to remember it is just go to flatearthdave.com, and then there's a big banner there, flatearthdave.com. Okay. It's trueearther.com, but if you forget that, just remember Flat Earth Dave. That's me, flatearthdave.com. Click that banner, and you could use my code or use Jake50. If you're a fan of Jake, use Jake50. And whoever's code you use, the reason they do it this way, it's $100, but nobody pays $100. They force you to use a code, because $20 of the $50 that you spend goes to the person that referred you. So it's a way to support people that are out here breaking their asses, risking their careers and families to bring truth to you. It's a way to help support them. And it's a 2-day conference for $50. Let me know where you can get that somewhere else. You can't.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Flatearthdave.com. All right. Now it's Antarctica time. All right. So the whole reason because Antarctica is like, it's a to a lot of people, it's the first thing they bring up when you talk about a flat Earth. But also, like, we just did an episode on Admiral Byrd, and found that to be very interesting on what his accounts were of what happened when he went to Operation High Jump, and then also about the mysterious death of his son, and also I think it was Secretary of the Navy that died the same year. Forrester, I think was his name, went crazy that year after he commissioned Byrd to go down there and then jumped from a mental health hospital to his death the same year. So, like, I was curious to, have you on, because I know you're very well versed in the conspiracy behind Antarctica and how it actually works. I know you and Brad got into this quite a bit too.
So, well, Brad was unable to actually learn anything new. He just believes that, I went to Antarctica, therefore the Earth is a globe. If you went to the edge of a lake and went to the little village at the edge of a lake and then went back on the lake, does that mean that the lake is on a globe? No, it's flat. That's all he did. Right. And so he thinks that, he doesn't understand that Antarctica is bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined. Okay. What? Wait a minute. That doesn't work on a ball. Yeah, we're not on a ball. This is an interview he did. What's behind him? Flat Earth map with a clock. Okay. Do you know, what's the most precision timepiece that you can think of? Is it a Rolex? Is it a Timex? What's the most accurate precision clock in the world?
The atomic clock.
The sky clock. The sky is the most perfect clock. All clocks are based on the movement of the sun, moon, and stars. Okay? Well, because they're so accurate, right? But we're supposedly in a beehive, crazy, gravitationally random universe. How the heck does that work like a clock? Right? Go out tonight, take a picture of the stars at a certain time, write it in your calendar, set an alarm for next year, same night, same time to take the same exact picture, and then compare the stars. Every star will be in the exact same position. How does that work in a gravitational beehive galaxy? Doesn't work. Doesn't work. But it does work.
Do you think Admiral Byrd had discovered this when he went down there?
So the story is he, in Project High Jump, he said he went over, excuse me. He went over the South Pole, and there's land bigger than the United States filled with resources where no human has ever seen, right? No animals, no plants, just resources, right? At a time, we're having wars over resources, over territory. And as soon as he says that, the Antarctic Treaty goes into place, and a dozen countries, and now almost every country, have signed it saying nobody can go there because it's the last undisturbed, unpolluted place on Earth, and we have to protect the ice and the penguins. We cannot drop a cigarette butt on the ice because it's pristine, but we can cut down the lungs of our world, the Amazon, burn it, do whatever, and plant palm oil trees. Okay, right? That's fine, but we can't disturb the ice. Wait a minute. He said there's resources back there, and then
he said whole mountains full of coal.
Yeah, yeah. So it's crazy when you actually think about it. It makes absolutely no sense. And then when you look at the mountains, right? They're called Dome A, Dome B, Dome C, Dome C. What the hell are they called domes for? Right? Flat Earth. We kind of think there's some sort of a dome, if you will. Some of us do. Some of us think the sky's flat. I think it's an extended dome, way bigger than our pond. Okay. When I say our pond, I mean the world pond. All of the oceans create a pond, and Antarctica is the shoreline around that pond. Not a continent at the bottom of the ball. It's the shoreline containing our water. You need containment with large bodies of water, right? Try to take a bath without the tub. Try to swim in a lake that doesn't have a side. Try to swim in a pool that's missing a side or doesn't have any sides. Doesn't work. Water needs containment. Okay?
So that's the belief is that I'm looking at the comments here. Sorry, I'm not getting to everyone, but a lot of people are saying that, that's the border of, that's the border of our lake, pretty much, or of our bubble, of our pond, and all the oceans are surrounded in, and then, the higher lands that are above sea level, like the continents and stuff.
So Antarctic Treaty goes into effect. Then we say, we're going to the moon. Look up at the moon. We're going to send Freemasons up there, and you can never go. And we're going to tell you a bunch of stuff about it that you can never verify.
What do you mean Freemason? What do you mean Freemason?
Well, all of the people that went to space, they're all Freemasons. They're all in the club. Okay. So
is Admiral Byrd too, by the way. He was
absolutely.
Freemason.
So that's what I was getting there. I don't know if I believe anything he says. I don't even know if I believe he's dead. He might be living in the outer lands. Who knows? Maybe he was whistleblowing. Maybe he was telling us because he has to tell us, like revelation of the method requires, right? I don't know, but all of these are possibilities. So unless you were there, unless you saw it, unless you know it yourself, it's not necessarily proof. So you can't go beyond 60 degrees south. And I could show you how they block all that off, right? So 60 degrees south is you can't independently explore there freely, period. And there's no argument about it. Also, Globers will say anybody can go there. There's 100 companies you can book a trip to. Yeah, trip will cost you tens of thousands of dollars. You go for 3 days. They bring you to Rothschild Island next to Deception Island. No, they bring you to Deception Island next to Rothschild Island. And they show you some ice. They show you some penguins. And they don't let you go anywhere. Okay? You stay on the ship mostly. And you're not allowed to go explore out south. Right. So you can't go there physically. And guess what? You can't go there virtually. Take out your go to Google Earth on your browser and take out the measuring tool. Look, I can measure something. It gives me the square miles. Beautiful. Now, what happens when we try to measure Antarctica? OK, we try to measure Antarctica. Something happens. It's inverted. Look at that. Right. What? It's measuring out here. It didn't measure Antarctica. Right. So why is that happening? What they can't figure it out. And then we'll go up to the North Pole and we'll measure the North Pole. Same thing. Look at that. It won't measure the North Pole. And now they tell us that it's just water up here. Used to be 4 lands, 4 continents up here. 4 land masses with rivers. Can measure Greenland, no problem. Okay. Can't measure the North Pole, can't measure the South Pole. What's up with that? Right? You can't just measure Madagascar here. Just show you it works everywhere except the north and south. So you can't measure it, and you can't go there virtually. You can't go there physically. That's strike 2.
You've tried booking a flight. Hasn't someone offered to give you a flight or?
Oh yeah, the Kelsey, the pilot guy. He's just he's got to be a paid shill or literally he's completely possessed. Either way, but we called him out. He wanted to do this flight. He said, okay. So we called him and said, okay, we'll do it. Help us book it. He goes, well, I'm not going to book it for you. I'm like, well, tell us who we call. What's the name of your airline? I'm not telling you the name of my airline. Like what? He totally ran away when we said we're going to do it. Okay. We were going to do a fundraiser, do the whole thing. He totally ran away on my app, on the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you go to the frequently asked questions page, and then you go to Antarctica and the 24 hours. No, you go to Southern Flights, which is right there, Southern Flights. And then you scroll down. The second, third, and fourth video are all about Kelsey and how he ran away when we called him out on his false offer. So everything that you think you heard, everything that you think is a proof, there's proof. It's all here. But you won't be able to find our videos on YouTube because it's censored. You can search, for the name of my videos, just search and it won't come up unless you go specifically to channel name, specifically the video. Then they go like, well, they already know anyway. We might as well show them the video. But if you're a random person, go Flat Earth Horizon proof. You're going to get all garbage. You get all garbage.
It's like when Clemens was doing research for having you come on our show, and I think the first video pulled up was Professor Dave destroys Flat Earth. Yeah, right. It's 3.4 million views.
Yeah, because that's pushed up, and then like after every video, that'll be the video that auto plays. But if you hit the web button, the one that looks at the web button that looks like a spider web, and you go debunking the debunkers, there's his ugly face. You'll have a whole bunch of videos, but we scroll down to right here, and this is a guy called Mindshock. He's a debate analyzer through logic and fallacies. Doesn't take sides. He just analyzed it. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Professor Dave gets completely eviscerated, right? Because he's just had ad homs and unproven arguments, the stupid stuff. And then all the Globers just like they just jump on. And most of his subs are fake, but people just jump on because it makes them feel better. Because there's people with weak minds that aren't able to admit that their whole life has been a lie. And so they just cling to that ball like a little child, right? They don't want to let go of the ball. They don't want to let go of the ball.
Let's talk. So we did an episode on Admiral Byrd, and then we had the Las Vegas footage of what appeared to be that green light coming down, landed in someone's backyard, and there's been several other alien encounters that seem to have hyped up with the whistleblower. How do you justify that in your mind? Because obviously they're not coming from space. So, or are they coming from space?
So-
What is your opinion on it?
Yeah, so let's talk about outer space and the outer space. All right. So outer space, if you're on a globe, is coming from stars that are trillions of miles away. Closest star is 25 trillion miles away. 25 trillion miles away. That's the closest one. Okay. And then all the other ones are way, way farther than that. That one literally is in our backyard, 25 trillion miles away. If you and I were on a spaceship going a mile, this is a trick question, and see if you guys can get it, because you weren't taught to think this way. It's the easiest answer. Think about it. Don't get scared because of the math, but you should get the right answer. If you're traveling at 1 mile per second for 1 trillion seconds, how many miles have you traveled?
1 trillion miles.
Very good. Well, a lot of people can't get that. I mean, that's
The only
literally
math question I'll answer.
a second grader. So if we were traveling at 1 mile per second, which no one has ever gone that fast.
I felt really proud that I answered that, Dave.
Well, congratulations. You can go to 3rd grade next year.
Where's your hotkey at? Hit your hotkey.
So wait a minute. Hold on. So just follow this logic through. Follow the logic through. We're traveling. You and I are traveling for 1 trillion seconds. We're now 1/25th of the way to the closest star. We got to do it 24 more times. Okay. Do you know how long 1 trillion seconds is? You guys probably know, right? How long is 1 trillion seconds?
I don't know.
Guess. If you guess it within a week, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure. 33 years?
Very close. 31,000 years. Okay.
Oh,
31.
You just missed a couple zeros. Just a couple zeros.
Just think.
It's my crypto career.
31,000 years. In my world, the Earth hasn't even existed that long. 31,000 years. Okay. If I got turbo booster, we go 100,000 miles an hour. Unfathomable. It'll take 28,000 years to get there. That's the closest star. Okay. So this whole idea of space travel going to other worlds is ridiculous. It's stupid. Well, we can fold space, and quantum physics and the double slit experiment show that a particle is a wave, and we could travel without traveling. That's what you have to believe in space. Now, if we lived in an enclosed world like every culture before us says, and we live in this enclosed system, maybe the system's much bigger. Maybe there's more land beyond Antarctica. Okay, maybe there's more land beyond. Let me go back here, and I'll go to the images. And what if the world is set up like this, where we live here? This is us. This ring is Antarctica. It's 1,000 miles wide, maybe, right? Our sun and moon circle around in here. Okay. America, South America, right? Australia. And out here is Antarctica, but it's not really, it's open because there's another shoreline beyond it. And there's other land out here. Okay. That land would be called extra territory, extra terra. If somebody lived on that extra terra in the outer area, they might be considered an extraterrestrial from outer space, just a couple thousand miles away versus incomprehensible, impossible light years and trillions of miles away in a scientifically impossible space vacuum that has burning balls of gas adjacent to a vacuum with planets, rocks that have gravity, that hold air down to them. All of that is absolute insanity, right? But this is scientifically possible. I'm not saying this is the case. It could be. It could be, right?
Well, wasn't there Japanese cultures that talked about a map similar to that?
Well, this is this map right here, and this is what I want to get into. You're gonna like that. You're gonna like where we're going next on this. Okay. That off. So where am I? Antarctica. So that map that I just showed you was was the Globers will say that's from a cartoon, right? Of course they're going to say that, right? I think it's a real map. It was found in a Buddhist temple. It's 10 centuries old. It was printed in a Hawaiian newspaper in 1910, and it's kind of interesting. So this is what I want to show you. You guys probably haven't seen it, but everyone, a lot of people have seen it. I got a couple new slides in here, so people that have seen this already, chill. So this is a cargo ship tracking thing, and here's Antarctica. And you can go to these websites and you click on any one of these ships. It'll tell you where it's going, how big it is, the captain's name, when it's left, when it's arriving, all the information you need. And you can track these just like you can track airplanes. But we found a ship here. Okay. This ship is 730 miles from the nearest outlet. Okay. How did it get there? Okay. And it's also 1.9 miles above sea level. So now if there was an inlet, how did it get 1.9 miles above sea level? There's no inlet. How did it get there? Right? Not bad enough. Found another one. Right? This is zoomed out, so it looks closer, but it's not. 905 miles.
Do we know what that is? What ship that is?
I'm going to show you. 2.37 miles above sea level. Another ship. When we click on these ships, there's very little information, but we clicked on one of them, and it said it was registered to so this was the map we were talking about a moment ago. Okay, and it was that one was registered to the nation of Kiribati. Where is Kiribati? Look out here in the middle of the South Pacific. You can't even see it. Right, I have a pin on it. Right, we zoom in, and it's literally a sandbar. Okay. Right. And it's a sandbar with a giant pier. Now, the ship said, all it said on that ship was it's 580 or 560 meters long, 80 meters wide. We don't even make ships that big. I don't think we do. I mean, it's like I was looking up the biggest cargo ship. I don't know where that ship's from, but I'm going to tell you where I think it's from. Okay. So it's got this ship. Why would that ship need to stay here? America, China, Korea, a whole bunch of nations say Kiribati is a very important trade route. Why would it need to be an important trade route? What do they have there? What are they growing there? Why would they stop there?
Can you zoom out of that
Refuel
and see where it is in relation to because I didn't see where you zoomed in at it. I was just sort of curious where it was into relation to anything. Because this is in the Pacific Ocean?
This is the South Pacific. So here's Antarctica. I think this is Africa over here. Okay. It's in the middle of nowhere. You know what's really fun? Get Google Earth and go out in the South Pacific and zoom in, and you'll find a whole bunch of these islands. They're all over. They're crazy. Okay. And then look at the trees on these islands. They're like, wait a minute. These aren't just wild islands. There's like, everything's planted like in perfect rows on these tiny little islands. It's crazy. And you'll see some stuff. You'll be like, wait a minute. Wait, it's like a whole nother world. And that's just here in our ocean. Okay. Okay. So Kiribati in the middle of nowhere, right? Funny thing about Kiribati, right? Captain Cook, he's the one that tried to circumnavigate Antarctica, which should have been between 10 and 13,000 miles around. And it took him 3.5 years, and he clocked over 68,000 miles. Does that sound like he's going around the little thing on the bottom of the ball? Does it sound like he's going around the entire world pond? Okay. But on Kiribati, there's the Captain Cook Hotel. Okay. That's just a coincidence. Big fan of Captain Cook. Well, strike one. They got ships in impossible places in Antarctica, ships too big for their island. China gave them $10 billion, and I think America gave them billions just recently. I don't know how many billion. Okay. So what are they giving this country all of this money for? This island, these literally sand people. Okay. So there's strike three. Then we looked and we found this. This is the shipping site, and we found their piers over here, this giant pier, and we're clicking on all these ships. Now, I know you can't see it. All of the ships, there's like a dozen or more ships here. They all either had destination unknown or they're going to Christmas Island. Christmas Island. Are you kidding me? Okay. I mean, all the symbology with Christmas, Santa, Satan Claus, right?
Nope.
So they're going to Christmas Island or a destination unknown. Weird.
And that's where that ship logged in from. The two ships. Both of those ships logged in?
Yeah, from Kiribati. But these are ships that are currently there right now, just as of the other day. Okay? Right? So
What app are you using to
just
follow
go to the
those?
ship tracking site. Just go to, there's a whole bunch of sites that
Okay.
cargo ship tracker. Okay. Kiribati, if you look and do some research, there was a heavy nuclear testing site. Right, they're blowing up bombs over Kiribati. Even and like, to me, I know that nukes don't exist. That's a whole nother show. Okay, so why are they telling us they're blowing up nukes there? Because they don't want anyone to go there, right? So blowing up nukes, they show pictures like this. Oh my God, the nuke! Right, this is a story. One of the military guys said, "Oh, it was so bad when it went off. I put my hands over my face and I could see my bones through my hands." Okay. I think he's watching too many Bugs Bunny cartoons, right? He saw his bones through his hands. That's what it says, okay? All right?
You don't believe nukes exist?
Dude, Crow 777 Radio episode 053 and 400. Listen to those,
right.
and then come back to me. You'll know that nukes don't exist after hearing those. So you got a bunch of soldiers walking around, and there's a nuke going off over here. A nuke, right? Let's zoom in, okay? These guys aren't even looking. If there was a nuclear bomb going off over there, you think you'd be looking, hitting the deck, or running? Okay, one of those three. No one even cares. Okay, this to me, I don't even know if that's photoshopped or is it just a fire. I don't know. Okay, maybe it's a volcano. I don't know.
And this is the same island where that one ship registered.
Absolutely. And this was a recent article, and they show this picture that's been used a million times. Right? This is Photoshop. This isn't even real. Okay. And these guys are standing here. Look at this little beautiful white cloud puff. They're all looking at it. They can tell it's radiation because they're wearing sheets on their heads. That protects you from radiation. Okay. Absolute insanity. Now, let's talk about time zones. On a ball, if we're spinning around every 24 hours, you'd have 24 lines going from the North Pole to the South Pole, equally spaced, and those are all your time zones. So as you spin through your time zones, right? Make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Do you understand that? That's how time zones work on a globe, right? So here's some time zones, right? They're all pretty straight, but then there's like this weird jig-jaggy thing. And if we look at the date line, it goes like this. This is like crossing over 3 or 4 time zones right here. Okay. What's in this weird little spot? Kiribati. Okay. Do you know what that means? Because I don't, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Right? Weird. So this is just the beginning of looking into Kiribati.
So what do you think those ships are doing then in the middle of?
I think it actually is a trade route, a very important trade route. And if we look here, so Kiribati is right about here, and Antarctica would be starting here. Okay, I think that it's a trade route to the outer lands. Maybe these ships are going out here, and there's other civilizations out there. Maybe they're trading technology, computer chips, weapons, tuna fish, children. I don't know. Okay. There's some sadistic stuff going on in this world. Maybe maybe lots of our stuff comes from out there. I don't know. But they're sending giant ships out there. Okay. Maybe there's other trade routes out here and out here and out here. How would you know? Because you never even heard of Kiribati till now. Okay.
So
I'm not claiming any of this is real. I'm claiming we want the freedom to go explore the outward areas of the North Pole and the South Pole. And then, those are the two places that would prove we're not on a ball and the Earth is flat. And interestingly, that they're off limits to everybody worldwide. And all the governments in the world agree on two things. You can't go to the North Pole and South Pole. You can't go past 60 degrees south. And you got to get this jibby-jabby thing stuck in your arm. Weird, right? Weird control, maybe trying to control you.
So what would it look like if they let us go? So like you're saying, give us that freedom to go and look ourselves. Like, what does that look like?
That's a great question. And I'm a big fan of what I call puddle theory. So let me show you what I mean by that. So here is, make this a little bigger. Oops. Where is it? So what if I showed you this image before, right? So, we're here and we got those outer lands. What if this is just our pond and this is a whole bunch of ponds, okay? This is a whole bunch of ponds, right? So let me show you how they hide the world from you, okay? Again, we don't need to do any of this to prove the Earth is flat because we've already done that. So what if we had just the Mercator map right here, right? And this we had no boats or airplanes or radios or anything. We're just living here in America, the top of South America and Mexico. And they cut out the rest of the map. They wrapped it around a globe and they told kids in school, this is all that there is. There's only this, and you're not allowed to explore down here, okay? There's only this. Well, how would you know about Europe or Africa or Australia? You wouldn't, right? Because this is your whole world, and you can't imagine beyond the prison that they put on on you. So now go back to that. We'll go back to that the big map. We live here in the center of this lake. This is our pond, right? 68,000 miles around. Okay. No, 68,000 miles is right here. This is even bigger, right? And we cut it out. They wrap it around a globe and they say, this is all there is. And guess what? You're not allowed to go near this white area. This is it. You're not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south because we have to protect the ice and the penguins. How would you know? You wouldn't know.
So-
You're in a prison. This is a prison for your mind because you can't think beyond the bars that they just put you in because you don't see the bars. If you don't see the walls, go ahead.
Sorry. Would it be
No, go ahead.
plausible to say that the Earth is round and that's still made up of all these ponds? And so basically what you're saying is like our little pond area is flat based on that perspective. So the Earth is round. It's just our spot is flat to us.
Well, these ponds look circular. A circle, by definition, is a line on a plane, flat surface, where all points are equidistant from the center. That's a circle. A sphere is a ball. Okay, we don't live on a sphere. We live on a circle on a pond, right? So imagine we had a lake in Kansas and it's 100 miles in circumference, right? That's a big pond. That's a big lake. And we're on a boat. We got a great boat and there's a bunch of islands everywhere. And there's one island right in the center that has a huge mountain on it. Okay. And that mountain is a giant magnet. Well, at 50 miles away, 25 miles away, you're not even gonna be able to see the mountain because it's going to be too small. It's going to be hidden. Okay. Maybe you'll be able to see it a little bit, but if you hold your compass out, your compass is going to point towards it because it's a magnet. Okay. Now, if you tried to go west or east, you're going to make a circle around that magnet because your compass is going to point towards that magnet. So you're going to go in a big circle all the way around, and that's east and west, circumnavigating the center. If you go north, you go right to the center. And if you go south, it's every direction away from the center. So we're on the lake. We say, hey, let's go south. So we're driving, let's say it's 100 miles across the lake. So we're at the middle. 50 miles later, we can't even see the center anymore. And all of a sudden, we hit the shoreline. We pull up, we climb up onto the land because the land's higher than the water because it's containing the water. And we start walking, right? And we're now, imagine this is just a scale model of the big world pond system. About a mile away, which, I don't know, is that 1,000 miles? We can't see the lake anymore. And we're walking and we're walking and walking. All of a sudden we see another lake. We get on a boat there and the same thing again. A whole nother world. Okay. A whole nother world with a small local sun. We can't even see the sun from one side of our pond to the other, let alone the sun from another pond.
Mike, do you think it's like the idea of no space or is what makes it challenging because to believe in a flat earth because we've just been inundated with all these space, all the space footage and space race since the 60s. So it's not just our culture, it's culture of our grandparents and culture of our great grandparents.
No, absolutely not. Because they were teaching flat earth to to our grandparents up into the mid 1900s. They were teaching flat Earth and globe Earth until the 1950s. Okay, flat Earth and globe Earth, and then the Rockefellers made it all disappear. The Gleason's maps disappeared out of all the classrooms and textbooks, libraries. Okay, and it's all gone. Right. And
so you're saying, Brian, public education prior to 1950s, they were teaching flat Earth and round Earth at the same time.
Yes, and we have testimony from people. You find someone that has their wits about them that's over 100 years old, or around 100 years old. They will tell you that they were taught flat Earth in school if they can remember back that far.
There'd have to be textbooks for that too, right?
You know what? Isn't it interesting how you always have to turn in your old textbooks? It's really hard to find the old textbooks, but you find the Encyclopedia Britannica and Encyclopedia Americana from 1959. It talks about the firmament and where it terminates, and that at 85 degrees south, it's only 13,000 feet high. Okay, firmament's the dome. I interviewed a woman named Ruth. If you go to my channel, DITRH, and search Ruth on my channel, watch those videos. And you'll see, I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs, because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. If you watch I'm the Improbable Dreamer, you'll know. And she had such a great memory. I said, what did they teach you in school about the Earth? And I never said anything to her. She goes, they taught me the Earth was flat. She goes, but then, years later, they changed it, and I had to believe them, but it didn't make any sense to me. And when I told her the Earth was flat and that we live at the center of creation, she broke down in tears. It was amazing. Okay.
I remember as a kid being told by my teacher, like, if you put a ball that's big enough and a fly lands on it and it's spinning super fast, the fly won't notice that it's spinning.
That's what they want you to believe.
And I just remember thinking, like, I trying that the rest of that summer, trying to find a ball big enough for a fly to land on that I could make it. And it always flew off, It's like,
yeah. So they want you to believe. So the argument that people say, when you don't feel a spin because, I'm in an airplane and I don't feel it moving. I could drink a glass of water. But if you want to compare the airplane to just the spin of the Earth, okay? The spin of the Earth is the slowest motion of the four motions that the Earth is making. You'd have to double the speed of the airplane. You'd have to remove the outer shell of the airplane because the Earth doesn't have an outer shell, holding the air in like the airplane does. And you'd have to nosedive down as fast as a free-falling skydiver just to follow the curve, okay? A mile a minute at that speed to follow the curve. And then let me know how your water's doing, all right? Because it's not going to be doing too well. So this is what they tell us our world is doing. We are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Do you know how fast we're orbiting the sun? And by the way, a spin is not a linear line. Like if you're on a train, a car going 1,000 miles an hour on a straight road, besides crapping yourself, you're fine. But if that car starts to take the slightest turn, left, right, up or down, you're going to feel it. So you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That's ridiculous, right? Spinning. I'm watching the sunset, but I'm falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. Ridiculous. We're orbiting in a curve, speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down. And think about it. Here's the sun, the Earth is spinning this way. I'm going 1,000 miles an hour, right? And then coming this way, I'm slowing down 1,000 miles an hour. The sun's moving at 500,000 miles an hour. So I'm literally speeding up 1,000 miles an hour and slowing down. So there's, in the course of a day, 2,000 miles an hour, speed up and slow down. Okay. And I'm orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour.
Well, some would say this is an argument for God, like this is proof that God exists.
Well, no, that's proof that people don't think. That's what proof it is. Okay. Let me put it into perspective. This is this hypersonic sled track. I encourage you to look it up on YouTube so you can hear the sound, right? This thing goes by a Mach 8.6. You can't even fathom what you're seeing or hearing when you see this. It's shocking. Okay. And you can't fathom what twice that speed is, okay? But if you live in the heliocentric world, right, what I just showed you, you have to believe that you're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this, and you're chasing the sun 100 times faster than this. Your brain just shuts down, says, I can't calculate anything like that. It must be true because somebody smarter than me figured it out. But if you go outside and let your common sense do the work, this will tell you what? What does this water tell you?
It's nice and peaceful.
It's flat and it's not moving. Okay? It's flat and it's not moving whatsoever. right? If you stamped your foot on the ground, what would happen? It would send ripples all the way across that lake, right? Right? You ever see a pool during a minor earthquake, right? The pool, a tiny little shaking of the earth, and this happens to a pool, right? We're spinning, corkscrewing, rocketing, and moving sideways at speeds that you can't even fathom, and the water lays perfectly flat on a calm morning.
Kids are getting knocked around.
Although here's my perspective on this. Like when you watch an airplane break the sound barrier, you can see it because of the distance in which it is from you. The camera angle that you had, it was right next to the track. So like if I was standing next to the airplane and the airplane flew past me at like faster than the speed of sound, like I'm sure I wouldn't even see it. But because it's at such a distance away, I'm able to see it and see the effects that it makes behind it. Same thing with the pool. The pool is right next to or connected to the plate. So with the plate moving, it's going to affect the water. Like a tsunami.
If the earth was moving in any way, shape, or form, water would move. The spin of the earth would create centrifugal force that would push all of the water to the equator. Okay. Neil deGrasse Tyson himself says, because of the spin of the earth, there's a bulge of water 14 miles high at the equator. Why isn't Africa underwater? Is Africa 14 miles above sea level? Okay. There's a bulge of water 14 miles high, but Africa's not underwater. Okay. They get themselves into so many traps. It's ridiculous. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity.
The whole purpose is to what? To keep us enslaved, to be human resources, or
it's to make us not realize where we are, who we are, the power that we have, and to keep us as little batteries in their matrix. Okay, to keep us as good little worker slaves. All right, that's all it is. So I want to show you this is a flight from Germany to I think Brazil. Right, so they're on top of the ball. Now these stars right here at the horizon. I'm going to pause this for a second. These stars here at the horizon. So we're sitting on the runway and we're looking. We see the star right here on the horizon. Now, as I fly over the ball, that star should now be above me, right? Because I'm going over the ball. Those stars, when I go, should be rising up. Now, this is a time lapse that a pilot took for us, and all you're seeing is the movement of the plane left and right. But these stars aren't rising at all. Okay, he's just flying these stars. Now, this is what Google Earth says you would see. You're flying over a ball. Of course, the stars would have to maintain their position. So you're flying over, and all the stars would be rising up as you're going over the curve. Okay? This is what Google Earth says you should see, because Google Earth believes we live on a ball, and this is what reality shows you. Now, where do you live? In Google Earth computer simulation or in reality?
So what is that then? If that is not, if those aren't stars, and
those are stars. Oh no, what are stars? I don't know. They're lights in the sky. They're lights in the firmament. They're souls. I don't know what they are. Okay, and neither do you. No one knows how far they are. But one thing that we can prove is they're not the distances that they tell us, based on the distances that they tell us. Right? Our sun is 93 million miles away. That's 8 light minutes. If our sun was 100 miles over our head, it would fill the entire sky, right? With the size that they tell us it is. If the sun was 100 miles over your head at noon, would it fill the whole sky?
Yeah.
Okay. So we move it 93 million miles away. Now it's the size of a coin held at arm's length. Why did it get small? Why did it get small?
Distance,
because perspective made it smaller. So if I doubled the distance, how much smaller would it get?
half the size.
Actually a quarter of the size, but that was a good guess. Okay. So if I doubled the distance again, so now we went from 8 light minutes to 16, and now we're going to go to 32 light minutes. It would be a 64th of its original size. And if we doubled it again to a light hour, 32 minutes times 2, it would be smaller than a star. So at a light hour, our sun is like a tiny star. Let's go 2 light hours. Can we still see it? Let's go 4 light hours. Can we still see it? No. Let's go 24 light hours away. That's a light day away. We're so far away. Our sun is so small, you cannot see it. We can prove that scientifically because the angular size is smaller than your eye can resolve. So you won't be able to see it at a light hour away. They tell us Polaris is 48 times bigger than our sun. Perfect. If we made it 48 light hours away, or light day, I changed it to days, light days away, 48 light days away, it would be the same size as our sun. Unseeable. Unseeable, right? Because if something is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther, it would look the same size. They tell us our sun is 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther. That's why they look like they're the same size. Or maybe they're just the same size, right? So getting back to Polaris, 48 times farther than our sun at a distance that we can't see the sun, we can't see Polaris. That is 48 light days away. They tell us Polaris is 433 light years away. You see the discrepancy there? Most people's minds just short circuit because they can't process those big numbers because you weren't taught how to, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. Going back to Kansas for a second, think about this. Kansas, flat as can be. If you're standing on one end of Kansas and your buddy goes to the other end of Kansas, okay? Do you know how much curvature there is? The amount of curvature at Kansas is 20 miles of curvature, okay? 20 miles of curvature. What does that look like? This is 20 miles of curvature. This balloon is 20 miles above the Earth. That's just the cloud deck. That's not even the Earth, okay? It's 20 miles down. There's that much curvature in Kansas. Again, you're thinking, I don't understand this. And that's because you're smart, because it's not understandable. It makes no sense. You have to believe that there's this much curvature from one end of Kansas to the other. 20 miles. I'm showing you what 20 miles looks like from the air, okay? It's ridiculous. But people like, oh, if I want to believe in this flat Earth, what about I can see the southern? How come I can't see the North Star from the south? Right? What proof do you have the Earth is a globe? What if you believe it and you don't have any proof? That's called a religion or a cult. Okay. Can you come up with a reason that anyone believes the Earth is a globe? Because there are none. I offer 3 Bitcoins, by the way, for 1 globe proof.
So you're okay with, I think that's what I think bothers most is like, you're okay with the explanation of the sun and the stars as I don't know. You just don't know what they.
The explanation that they give us. Once upon a time, this is a priest made this up. Once upon a time, there was nothing. It exploded and became everything. Let's just give them that one. Let's not worry about the details. Okay. And then all of the rocky bits started bumping into each other. And for some reason, they kind of stuck together. And they got big enough where they actually started creating a gravitational force. And all the more rocks and it just, all of the debris just kept coalescing into perfect spinning balls that somehow got water and air. And then all of the gases that came out of nothing started coalescing and they started sticking to each other. Gases sticking to each other. Go look up at what the gas does. Fills the available space evenly. Okay. And they started sticking to each other and their gravity got so big that they implode and they started a nuclear furnace, the fission furnace or whatever the hell it is. Okay. And they leave a void, a vacuum in between all the other stars and all the other planets. So they suck all of the air into themselves, hydrogen and helium and whatever. And they start burning, okay? So our sun has a certain mass to it. If our sun had less mass, could it hold on to the planets the same way it does, right? The ridiculous way it does? And the answer is no, right? So our sun's been around for billions of years since it ignited. And you know how many tons of mass get burned every day? I think it's the 406 billion tons per day for billions of years have been burning up the sun, but the sun still keeps everything better than any precision watch. Still holds on to everything. Holds on to Pluto, holds on to Saturn, holds on to Jupiter. Jupiter has more gravity than all of the other planets combined, but Jupiter's made out of helium and hydrogen, which defies gravity here on Earth. How much defying gravity, helium, and hydrogen do you need to create more gravity than all of the other planets. And then all of the moons that are on all of the planets, and there's like 70 moons now on Jupiter or Saturn or whatever, the sun ignores them. Even though the sun's holding on to Pluto and Uranus, right? It ignores the moons because the gravity from those planets holds on to don't touch my gravity. Don't keep your gravity away from my moons. That's what the planets say. Okay. And it all cooperates. And even when all the planets line up, none of the gravity tugs on anything. Nothing goes out of order. Everything works perfectly. Okay. You guys know what the 3-body problem is?
I do not know. Never heard of
The
it.
3-body problem is you can take the world's best computer, okay? The world's best computer and make a simulation and say, I got a sun, it's got this much mass, I got a planet, and put them into orbit, and it will figure out what it's going to do forever, accurately, perfectly. Then you add one more body into that, another planet going around the sun or something going around the Earth. So now you got 3 bodies. And when you do 3 bodies, it doesn't work. No computer in the world can figure out what it's going to do next. So you got your 3 bodies, right? That's actually what I wanted. That's a different simulation. Let me just show you this a little quicker. So you got 3 bodies, and these are all the same size. So this is actually, if they were different sizes, they would go into chaos mode quicker. But they start tugging on each other when they get near each other, and there it goes into chaos mode. No one knows what it's going to do next. Okay? No one knows. But our solar system somehow keeps perfect time. Everything repeats. The sun is 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther, but it looks like it's the same size. And somehow they line up perfectly for eclipses. Perfectly. The chances of that happening once are quadrillions to 1. Near impossibility, but they do it every year. And after 18 years, they do the same pattern again and again and again, like a watch, like a clock. Okay? They can't figure out 3 bodies, and we have quadrillions times billions of bodies that just keep doing the same thing all the time. None of our stars ever move. Ever. Please.
It seems like when it comes to flat Earth, the community tends to be not atheistic or agnostic, but very like religious. Not religious towards the belief,
No.
but like almost like this is an establishment of a creator, there being a flat Earth compared to.
Here's the thing: I didn't buy into any religions. I looked into all of them, and I didn't buy any of them. I don't believe God. I believe that we were just from dirt. I believe the Jesuit priest that made up the Big Bang Theory, the dumbest thing ever. And I believe that lightning struck, created an amoeba. That amoeba turned into a worm, that turned into a fish, that grew legs, climbed out of the water, found another sexy fish, turned into a monkey, that turned into a human. Okay. And I believed all of that because that's what I was taught in school. Carl Sagan laid it out for me and everything. And just, globe, evolution, God doesn't exist. And then that was my life. And then when I started looking into flat Earth and started actually looking at the facts and not believing the nonsense, and I realized, wow, this world is created. There's no other choice. There is a creator. Now, who's the creator, Dave? Where'd he come from? I don't know. You walk up to a building. Did that building come out of nowhere, or is there a builder? Is there a creator? Well, there's a creator. Who is he? I don't know. I just got here. Okay, I just got here, right? What I tell people is, all you have to do is realize there is a creator. Realize this place was built for us, and that we are at the center of creation, and that we have incredible powers that they don't want us to know about, and that's how they control us. Some evil has taken over this world some way. Maybe it's by design, and maybe we all chose to be here to see if we can break through this puzzle. I love puzzles, right? And this is a hell of a puzzle, right? But in the app on the web page, there's a biblical right here. If you're a Bible believer or a Bible hater, watch these videos. Okay, they're amazing. There's amazing stuff, and there's tons of truth to be found in religious books. But I'm not religious. Most religions are for control. If you think about it, the Catholic Church is tied to the Vatican. The Vatican, unarguably, is the most evil, corrupt thing on earth, right? If you know anything about the Vatican, it is insanity that people still let that place exist.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you understand that, you'll
Well, because
realize,
I remember
yeah,
listening to Coast AM, and they would talk about the Catholics and the Vatican had their own observatory in their own space program, which I
the
just remember
Vatican
thinking
owns
was
all
very
of the
odd.
largest telescopes in the world. They own all
Oh,
of them.
really?
And they own all of them. And they're not looking up in the sky. They're looking south. They're out south, and they're looking out towards Antarctica in all directions. Okay. Why are they looking out south? Well, we've got to protect ourselves from the aliens. No, that's they're looking out there. And the largest telescope, I think it's the largest one. It's like this long name in the acronym. You know what it is, right? It's the
No.
long distance. I forget it, but the acronym's Lucifer. Their number one telescope is named Lucifer.
Really?
Okay.
Bringer of light.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is the friend finder on the app. These are the people that are just near me. I could send out a radius message saying, hey, we're going to have a meetup. We did it, and 75 people showed up. You can message people. You can look at their profiles. You can look at a worldwide view. And, in a short amount of time, I can't wait. The profile section is going to be more like Facebook, right? You can put all your information in there. You can do posts. You can request friends. You can do all sorts of stuff, and it's going to be you're going to be able to fill it out like like LinkedIn and a dating site. Fill in everything that applies to you, and then somebody can say, you know what, I'm moving. I want to move to Florida, and I only want to work with a flat earther. So I'm going to type in Florida and real estate broker, and it's going to show me all the flat earth real estate brokers, so I don't have to deal with globe mentality people, right? Globers used to say, you flat earthers are never going to get a job. How are you going to, no one's ever going to hire you. Watch out, Globers. We're not hiring you, and we don't want to work with you.
Dave, this is a huge transformation from I mean, I don't know if you were the first. I mean, you're not the first one to really, I mean, to me, you're the first one to really put all this effort into flat earth with the demonstration.
I'm not the first one. I'm definitely not the first one. I've just gone out on the most shows, right? You guys don't have a very big show, but I'm interested in talking to new minds, okay? There's other people that'll only go on other flat earth shows. Well, guess what? Those flat earth shows are algorithmically hidden from other people, right? So I'll go on any show that thinks flat earth is stupid, that thinks flat earth is interesting, that doesn't know about it, right? Because I'm here to reach new people, right?
I mean, how has the transformation been though from, when you first started making this your livelihood, letting people know about flat earth to, you've built in quite a large community on that app, haven't you?
The last time we were on, I think we're about 70,000. We're at 105,000, and it's growing rapidly. And that's just the people on the friend finder. There's another 200,000 people that have the app that haven't gone on the friend finder. So it's either they don't know about it or whatever, but
did you ever imagine you'd have 300, 400,000 people?
I'll let you know when I hit 300, 400 million.
Okay. It's still pretty good though. I mean, it keeps growing, it seems like. So that's
it does.
Good.
And the app now, you can do video phone calls on there, video groups. Go into one of your groups, hit the video button, bam, you got a group call with everybody worldwide. Talk to people from all over the earth. It's amazing. It does so much. And there's people that they're depressed. You know what? My family, I need to talk to somebody. Flat earthers love talking to other open-minded people, right? We don't want to talk to normies anymore, and except to wake them up. And people are like, oh my God, there's somebody right down the street from me. Bam, click, meet, coffee shop, new best friend, new significant other, new job opportunity, new everything, right? I've never met a blue dot I don't like, right? And they're all amazing people. So the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, you can find it at flatearthdave.com. If you have a podcast or know of a podcast that would be interested in this conversation, hit me up, flatearthdave.com, book Dave. We can start the conversation there. All sorts of stuff. If you don't, the app is only for mobile phones and pads, iPads, and Android tablets. But it's growing from there. So there you go.
Any questions you guys got left for Flat Earth, Dave? I think you've blown a Mike's mine. He's gonna
So,
just
so
sit here, dwell on
Mike,
it.
Mike, if you don't have my
This
app,
was Devin last time.
the app is $3, one-time charge. Just to be clear, it's a one-time charge for $3. If you want to do messaging, you can still look at the friend finder. But if you want to message other people or play the games, we have like a trivia game on there. Or any new features that are coming, you have to be a subscriber, and the subscription's $11 a year. It's optional. You don't have to do it. But you can also, if you don't want to pay the $11, you can go up here and click the referral area, create a name, you hit the pencil, change your random number to whatever name you want, and then tell people about the app. And if you get 11 points or more, you can trade them in for a year subscription. So I kind of make it easy. I'm never raising the price. And it's like one margarita a year. I'm not buying your app, but can I get a round of shots for everybody? $80 later, you can lead a man to knowledge, but you can't make them think, but you can make them drink. That's what I say.
Dave, thanks so much for coming on our show again. We really appreciate it. Always a pleasure talking with you. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
Flat Earth Dave, everybody. It's a great. What do you think there? Fellas?
I love Dave. I think it's always a great time. I mean, I think this was 2 for 2.
2 for 2. How you doing over there, Clemens?
I'm doing good. I enjoyed the conversation. Like it was a good conversation. I wanted to listen. Like there was a couple more things that I wanted to ask, and like the chat was blowing up with some great points. And like it was a good conversation. Like I like his perspectives. Like I don't think I'm definitely not convinced that the Earth is flat, but it's always good to sit down and have like these healthy conversations of everyone's perspectives, because it's good to sit down and have like good healthy discussions like this.
I think it's fascinating. What a movement he's grown it into.
Yeah, it's taken off since the last time we had him on. The one thing I forgot, I wanted to ask him about the calendar, but that's something I could probably Google and see.
I'm curious about why do you think it's a globe? You still convinced it's a globe then, Clemens, or you just need time to process?
Okay. The reason why I've been around the world once. I've traveled via the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean to the Arabian Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's all about size. I don't think that we really have a perspective on how truly big everything is. That's why to me it's in the end, for me, whether the Earth is round or flat, like I'm a huge believer in religion and the Bible. So to me, my ultimate question is, how does the Bible fit into this? And to me, what makes this argument or debate like so interesting is like it fits on both sides of the argument. So like you can explain the Bible via a flat Earth, and you can explain the Bible via a round Earth. So to me, that's why I like the discussion so much.
Yeah, it doesn't. The Bible is a flat Earth book. There's. Man, it's interesting how many people have latched onto it who are very religious. I mean,
I want that T-shirt. Did he say anything about the T-shirt he was wearing? I want that damn flat Earth T-shirt. That was nice.
It's got to be on flatearthdave.com. We'll have to get some Flat Earth Dave merch. If we get Flat Earth Dave merch, do you think he'll come back on our show in like a year or so? We'll just all wear it.
He practically have to.
Yeah, I think he would have to. See, now Victor Vasilik says the Bible is a flat Earth book from cover to cover. Just interesting because it talks about the circle of the Earth, right? I think that's in Isaiah. Talks about the circle of the Earth. I can't remember if that's.
But still, even that would explain, like even what Dave was saying about the little circles where there's a lot of different ponds, right? Well, that would even explain that, with the circles, the different ponds, around.
And if you had a firmament, and he has a video where he shows this, where he takes a light source and circles around all of these little circles, and they all pick up like an individual sun around their firmaments. And so, Oxbow Spirit says Genesis 1 verse 7 talks about the creation of two lights, not one light and a reflector. You're the Bible expert, Clemens. I'm just
that multiple ponds thing. I love that. How fascinating would that be? The whole that's why they protect Antarctica and everything. What's out there? It's fascinating.
And that would give your explanation for aliens, which is I was sort of curious what because you get all this, the ship route thing. I think was the. Thank you for subscribing, American 12U. The ship thing was the most interesting, where the shipping routes, where he had that ship in the middle of the two ships in the middle of Antarctica that came from that island. That's just one of those weird, how does that happen?
Yeah. Right? And the fact that billions of dollars has been given to that little sand island with the, what do you call sand people? Yeah. Can we look into that? That blew my mind too.
Kiribati or something like that?
Yeah, billions of dollars from, other multiple countries funneling into one little place. What is that place all about?
Victor Vasilik, he says, yes, circle, talking about that Bible verse. He says in the exact same verse, it describes the earth as a tent. A pizza or a table is also a circle, which I could go for a pizza. Kiribati. Thank you, Oxbow Spirit. Yes. Appreciate all these comments coming in during the discussion, for sure.
And, a gas station couldn't cost that much, right? Because I would think main point for that is like a stopping point to refuel and what have you, and then, go about the rest of your journey. So, I would assume it would cost a lot to get, resources out there, but,
Well, and I think it's interesting that they're getting money from China and from America, heavy amounts of money, which I don't know what heavy amounts of money means. I'd have to look it up, see exactly how many.
Yeah, but the size of ship he was talking about, because I didn't get a chance to look into it, but
did that sound big to you?
Yeah,
Clemens?
Yeah, decent size. It was an aircraft carrier, so those are pretty big, but these cargo ships, they can get even bigger, just haul massive amounts of stuff. But my take on that is, we do order a lot of stuff from China, and it's really hard to find stuff not made in China, versus made in China. So we are, to me, it still looks like a good stopping point to refuel and what have you to finish the journey.
But those ships were registered to that island, which was also interesting. The two ships that were in Antarctica that were above sea level that but the other ships that were there, that did make sense because it is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. They could park out there and refuel and stuff. But
see, that brings me back.
I don't know that about ships, how that works.
Yeah, what's the significance? What did Germany want there? And is it the same thing? Is that why they're all registered?
Why is there a peace treaty? The one thing all the nations can agree on before going into the Cold War is, hey, Antarctica off limits because we want to preserve the ice.
Right.
That doesn't sound American or very Soviet.
No, we can't agree on much of anything now. What makes you think they're going to be like, oh?
But no. Admiral Byrd makes a trip down to Antarctica, and a few months later, everyone's like, yeah, absolutely.
Because if this is the plug that holds all the water, humans are all about blackmail, right? So, somebody's somewhere around the end is going to be like, hey, I want control of this plug just in case somebody's a little twisted here. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this a little bit.
You would think it'd be a race to build the biggest and best, attack system down there to take that over. Not just everybody to keep their paws off of it and be like, I trust you.
Let's just agree to just everyone leave it alone. Yeah.
Everyone agrees.
Because we're not even like that in anything at all. It is I'm gonna show you how big mine is because it's bigger. So
Well, and remember that interview with Admiral Byrd where they asked him, "Is exploration a thing of the past?" And he said, "No, absolutely not,
Right.
except for down south. Down south, I don't think there'll be any more independent explorations. But there's plenty of other places to explore." What a weird, first of all, those questions are all prepared beforehand back in that day. Nothing was off the cuff.
Yeah.
What a weird question to lead with, and then for his answer to be absolutely not. No one's going to Antarctica.
And loyalty being one of the most important things.
Yes.
Loyalty.
Yes. Followed by that.
It's like,
Oh, well, very interesting. All right. Great show, everyone. Thanks for coming on. Next, I didn't know if you saw this, but we got Brad Olson coming on the second week of July. So excited to have him on, talk about some of these alien sightings and stuff that's going down in Antarctica, get his opinion. I noticed a lot of people saying, hey, look at funny thing happened on the way to the moon. If you go through our back catalog.
Register. Yeah.
Yes, we have 2 interviews with Bart Sibrel that wrote that book. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon.
I don't know. Bring a blanket and some popcorn for that second.
Yeah, it's both of them are good. Both of them are good. So
that one was like 4 hours long.
It was. Bart had a lot to say. He came out with new information. He was hoping our listeners, if they found any leads, could email him. So if you get a chance or you know anything about New Mexico and the space program back down there, watch that second one, because that's actually that was the one that he gave us that new information. So anyway, until next week, gentlemen, have a good evening.
All right. See you.